From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. President Donald Trump said Thursday that there would be a 90-day negotiating period with Mexico after a call with that country's leader, Claudia Sheinbaum, as the 25% tariff rates stay in place. Trump, posting on Truth Social, said his phone conversation with Sheinbaum was very successful in that more and more we are getting to know and understand each other. Trump said that goods from Mexico imported into the U.S. would continue to face a 25% tariff that the U.S. president has ostensibly linked to fentanyl trafficking. The Republican said that autos would face a 25% tariff, while copper, aluminum, and steel would be taxed at 50%. Trump said that Mexico would end its non-tariff trade barriers, but he didn't provide specifics. Some goods continue to be protected from the tariffs by the 2020 U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which Trump negotiated during his first term. But Trump appeared to have soured on that deal, which is up for renegotiation next year. One of his first significant moves as president was to tariff goods from both Mexico and Canada earlier this year. The Trump administration has canceled plans for new offshore wind projects. More than 3.5 million acres of federal waters had been designated wind energy areas most suitable for offshore development. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is now rescinding all such designations. Wind lease sales were anticipated off the coasts of Texas, Louisiana, Maine, New York, California, and Oregon, as well as in the central Atlantic under a 5-year schedule President Joe Biden announced. But Trump is reversing such policies, relying on false and misleading claims, as promoted fossil fuels in a series of executive orders. Among them, an order by his Interior Secretary this week described wind and solar as unreliable, foreign-controlled energy sources. Sort of like Jewish space lasers, I guess. Attorneys general from 17 states and the District of Columbia are suing in federal court to challenge the halt to wind energy leasing and permitting. U.S. imposed tariffs spell disaster for this factory that exported clothes to American stores. In the tiny African nation of Lesotho, clothing manufacturer Tzik business has dried up in the face of tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. A few months ago, work was steady. The factory's 1,300 employees have made and exported sportswear to American stores, including JCPenney, Walmart, and Costco. But when Trump announced sweeping tariffs in April, Lesotho found itself topping the list with a rate of 50%. Since then, Trump backed off temporarily. During a months-long pause for trade talks, the U.S. has changed to baseline 10% tariff, now announced new rates for dozens of countries starting Friday. Lesotho's rate will be set at Trump's whim, with aides suggesting that tariffs charged on goods from smaller African countries could easily top 10%. Many nations have received letters laying out a new tariff, with the pause set to expire Friday. Lesotho officials say they've not received one, and they find themselves among the countries where Trump says officials simply don't have time for one-on-one negotiations. Whatever happened to 90 deals in 90 days? We're well past the 90-day mark, and we don't have 90 deals. So what's what? Trump, huh? A key U.S. inflation gauge rose last month as Trump's tariffs raised prices. We thought prices would go down because of the tariffs. That's why you got elected, Trump. Apparently, you were wrong. You see, because the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge ticked higher last month, in a sign that Trump's broad-based tariffs are starting to raise prices on many goods. Prices rose 2.6% in June compared with a year ago, the Commerce Department said Thursday, up from an annual pace of 2.4% in May. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, prices rose 2.8% in the past year, the same as the previous month, which was revised higher. The figures are above the Fed's 2% goal. The uptick helps explain the central bank's reluctance to cut its key interest rate despite Trump's repeated demands. On Wednesday, the Fed left its key rate unchanged at 4.3%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell suggested it could take months to determine whether the import duties will cause just a one-time increase in prices or a more persistent increase in inflation. That's the news at this hour. Tune in Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon for the Smokers Lounge, a full hour of jazz, R&B, or swing music. And if you're watching our news videos on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.